Well, yet again, I'm still sitting here talking and rambling on. Well, talking snowmobiles. My first snowmobile, I remember one Christmas Eve. I was at my grandparents in Eagle Bay, New York. Um, I was probably 12, 13, maybe 11-ish. It's kind of hard to remember because I'm in my mid 40s now. Um, my first sled was a 19, I think it was 82 Bravo 250. And it was a nice sled. I mean, we run that thing, jumped it, did a lot of things to it. Learned a lot on that snowmobile. And then we ended up getting a 1984 Safari to go along with it because we all wanted our own sled. It was a 377. Then I ended up upgrading to a 1984 SS 462 liquid, maybe a 490 it is. That thing had 8,000 miles on it. Honestly, I never seen a snowmobile go over 10,000, which it did. For that year, it was pretty amazing. Oh my goodness, I remember the times I had to work on it in 20 below zero, putting track clips on it. Oh my goodness. I mean, snowmobiles are fun, but back then you carried vice grips with you and wrenched on them. You wrenched for half a day, then you went out for about a couple hours for playing. After that sled, I rolled the sled at 80 miles an hour. It was just something that happened. I was on Fourth Lake and kind of got dozed. People picked me up. The sled was running upside down. Somebody shut it off. And then put the sled back together as best I could. Went out for one last ride, which it was its last ride. We went to Old Forge, kept running, and then all of a sudden it just something locked up solid. The track, the slide clip, the slide rail. What happened to it is the slide window must have been the track was loose, and it jammed right into that. Jammed the track right up. It wasn't, and it stopped so sudden. And we cut it with a utility knife, put it in the back of my grandfather's truck, and then we went back home, and I ended up not riding the rest of that year. And I got an E6 Polaris, had 1,000 miles, had a lot of problems with it. Got all the gas lines replaced and the fuel pump and little things like that. Then it ran good. It was awesome. We run that to about 8,000 miles. Sold that to somebody because I got tired of working on it. I was working for a Town of Webb Trail boss at the time. And then I kind of got there. I kind of was working there for a while in my early 20s. Then I wanted to pick up snowmobiling again in the 2000s. Picked up a brand new sled. Never bought a brand new sled. 2005 MXZ 380 Rev. I'll be honest, that was a good little sled. I run that 5,000 miles. Doug Smith down in Old Forge gave me about $2,000 for the trade. I went up to a 550 fan, short track 2010. So this is when I started riding a lot newer sleds, and well, for $6-7 you couldn't beat it at the time. Snowmobile prices to me are crazy. And then from there, I bought another 550 fan. That was a 2013 Ski-Doo 550 fan Renegade Sport, and that was a lot better ride sled because of the longer track. Then it gets better. Then I did one more upgrade to a 2016 it's a Ski-Doo Adrenaline 600 E-Tech high output engine, 137. Nice sled. Never had to do any real tweaking to the suspension. Rode flawlessly. Then kind of wanted to trade it in, or I sold it because I had to pay some other loans. Yada, yada, yada. And then I got into... Another thing I got into is then I got a 2018 Polaris. I bought it from Don's in Old Forge. Don's Polaris. They were in business. They went out of business last year just because I think aging out, no one ever took over the franchise. Got it for $7,500. Spent a little more than it was worth. Put a nice ripper track on it. Run that 3,000 miles during the COVID era. I sold it. I got my $7,500 back for it. I only had like 3,000 miles. It was well worth the money for somebody that wanted to ride it. I just got tired of riding. Then I turn around. Somebody says, "Oh, you want to?" And I got married at the time, and I had a Polaris Indian Adventure. Um, it it got really heavy at the time, and the darn sled just wasn't heavy enough. Kept breaking shocks and springs, and with two people that are just not designed for that. Shame on the dealer for selling it to me like that. Those Indian Adventures, they're a good sled, but the center shock, spring only, they don't make anything. I called all around the internet, went to Don's Polaris at the time. I just wasn't happy. They wanted me to upgrade, and I didn't do that. Kind of was mad. Sometimes that happens in deals and dealers. Then I went down to Mike's and Marcy. He had a, 2019 Skidoo 600 Ace Grand Touring, and that was a nice sled. It was 600 Ace. I had 5,000 miles on it. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be, it wasn't supposed to be in pristine condition. So then I bought that, and then got a wife, got it back out of riding. Just the way things are sometimes. I got back to when I was single riding. That's when I picked up the 96 Formula SNL 500 liquid, and that's 2,800 miles on it. I'd like to see if I can get a 600 miles this year on it. I go out when I want to go out. I'm just a casual rider. Years ago, every year I used to put 1,000 miles on a month. Or how many miles? So basically, in the nutshell, snowmobiling, like I've seen these letters out there that Arctic Cat's having troubles manufacturing. I'm not totally understanding, but hopefully Arctic Cat didn't go out of business. Yamaha just decided not to do any more snowmobiles, and we'll see but $20,000 for a sled. I'll get to be around, and high interest rates. Yeah, I mean, if you want to pay 20 grand, you want a new sled, go get one. But here's the thing. Winter hasn't been winter. And I'm not trying to be, this is not me being a Karen. It's just me explaining why I don't want to pay 20 grand for a sled when you pay 10. We'll see what happens. I mean, I see some of the snowmobile shops offering a heck of good deals, but I still think 15 grand's too much. So when I thought about it, I said, all right, go buy a old beater. And that's what I did. Only reason why I prefer the liquid over the fan, the liquid cooled will give you a little more performance. But I don't know if anybody's watching from Skidoo or something. Why can't the engineers come back with another 500 liquid and make it like 6-7 grand, or a 440, even another 440 air cooled? That would be awesome. I miss those smaller displacement engines. Other than that, we'll see what happens. If we do get more winter, maybe I'll upgrade to a sled. But when a sled costs just as much as a car, and you only ride them maybe 2 years, 2 months, I mean, out of the year, maybe a month now if you're lucky. All right, well, please like and subscribe. That's more than a short tutorial, but I wanted to give you my feedback on snowmobiling a little bit, or my history. We'll see what happens. I just got the chain case in mine reinstalled. I think it was about ready to go anyways. Just bought a used one from Evil Bay, and for $120. So I got $900 in my sled. Anything I do, I don't count my time as wasted when I work on it. It's my own time. If a chain case is going to be, like, if somebody got me a chain case and installed it, it could have been a couple, $300 just to pay some labor. And I understand why, because it took me a while. But save a lot of money doing your own. You can do your own work yourself, but be sure you look up or ask if you have friends. Make sure you don't over tighten your chains, don't over tighten your bolts, snug them up. The internet's full of things. I snugged them pretty tight, but it works. Um, yeah, that's about it in a nutshell. All right, I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go to work now. Everybody having another wonderful day. I'm just liking watching the lake here, and talking snowmobiles, and that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully, we get it out. I got it out yesterday, and she's good to go. Have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful holiday weekend, everybody.